Black hole that seems to consume you, that fills up your chest when you lose someone that's close to you that you adored. That's why I continue to say to America, if you've not been vaccinated, get vaccinated. Get vaccinated as soon as possible. We have plenty vaccination, plenty of sites. We have more work to do to beat this virus. And now's not the time to let our guard down. So please, please get vaccinated as soon as possible. We've had enough pain. Enough pain.
Daily military reports reported. The Biden administration's pledge to promote liberal democracy and human rights abroad could spark a new crisis between the two countries. President Joe Biden and Russian President Vladimir Putin will hold their first ever summit on Wednesday in Geneva, Switzerland. The meeting is set to take place against a backdrop of rising tensions between the United States and Russia. Several leading Russian foreign policy experts discussed their expectations for the Biden-Putin summit with the national interest. They explained that despite the recent deterioration in relations, Moscow saw Biden in certain ways as an upgrade over Donald Trump. At the same time, they warned that there was not much the two leaders could do to improve U.S. Russian relations and that the Biden administration's pledge to promote liberal democracy and human rights abroad could spark a new crisis between the two countries. Since taking office in January, Biden has instituted sanctions against Russia over the arrest of opposition figure Alexei Navalny, alleged interference in the 2020 U.S. elections, and its reported role in the SolarWinds cyber attack.
We had detailed discussions about how to proceed on a number of issues. Our two countries have big agendas. Our teams are going to continue our discussions, and I'm confident we'll make real progress with Turkey and the United States. But now I want to thank Secretary General Stoltenberg for leading a very successful NATO summit today. I had the honor of leading off the discussion today among the 30 nations. And I pointed out that we're facing a once-in-a-century global health crisis. At the same time, the democratic values that undergird our alliance are under increasing pressure, both internally and externally. Russia and China are both seeking to drive a wedge in our transatlantic solidarity. We're seeing an increase in malicious cyber activity.
The Kremlin has countered with its own counter-sanctions, most notably prohibiting the U.S. Embassy in Moscow from employing Russian or third-country nationals. After that restriction was announced, the U.S. Embassy said that due to staff shortages, it would halt most consular and visa processing services. Relations took another turn for the worse in March when Biden agreed with an interviewer's characterization of Putin as a killer. That comment prompted Moscow to recall its ambassador to the United States for the first time since 1998. Shortly thereafter, the U.S. ambassador to Russia returned to Washington for consultations. Tensions reached their peak when Russia launched a series of large-scale military exercises near Ukraine from mid-March to the end of April. The European Union estimated that over 100,000 Russian troops had been mobilized near the border, sparking fears in Kiev and Western capitals that Moscow was preparing for a military intervention in Ukraine. Shortly after the exercises began, the U.S. European Command raised its watch level for Ukraine to a potential imminent crisis, its highest level of alert. Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu announced that Russia had concluded its drills and would withdraw most of its troops from the border. But U.S. and Ukrainian officials assert that Russia still maintains a significant troop presence in the area. All of these factors have created a tense atmosphere ahead of the meeting of the two presidents in Geneva. In an interview with NBC News that aired on Monday, Putin said that U.S. Russian relations had deteriorated to their lowest point in years.
The NATO 2030 agenda, and that we agreed to fully resource that agenda. The last time NATO put together a strategic plan was back in 2010, when Russia was considered a partner and China wasn't even mentioned.
Fyodor Lukyanov, chairman of the Council on Foreign and Defense Policy, a research group that advises the Russian government, told me that Putin's main priority for the summit with Biden is to find a way to keep the current tensions from spiraling out of control. The meeting is regarded as an opportunity to reorganize U.S. Russian relations, not to improve them, which is probably impossible, but to make them a bit more rational. Lukyanov said, "The problem with U.S. Russian relations is that in recent years they have become not just bad, but irrationally bad." Dmitry Suslov, a professor of international relations at the National Research University Higher School of Economics, argued that there are too many contradictions between Moscow and Washington to meaningfully improve relations anytime in the foreseeable future. What is possible, however, is turning the current U.S.-Russian showdown into managed confrontation, one in which both sides knew and respected each other's red lines. To that end, Suslov predicted that Putin would use the summit to warn Biden against crossing Russia's red lines, Ukraine, Belarus, and no support for the Russian opposition. Putin was also likely to propose selective cooperation on issues such as arms control, climate change in the Arctic, and restoring diplomatic contacts between Moscow and Washington, Suslov added. The Biden-Putin summit will be the first high-profile meeting between U.S. and Russian presidents since the July 2018 Trump-Putin summit in Helsinki, Finland. At a press conference after the meeting, Trump questioned the U.S. intelligence community's conclusion that Russia had interfered in the 2016 U.S. elections, adding that Putin had offered an extremely strong and powerful denial of the accusations. Trump's remarks provoked a major media firestorm and bipartisan condemnation from Congress.